Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. So we are coming to the kind of back end of my 2023 tier lists, and I wanted to do kind of one based on free-to-play units. As you guys should know, I love free-to-play units, and for me, free-to-play units are the backbone of Dokkan. They give Dokkan its kind of roster filling potential, and I wanted to do a list of units that basically free-to-play units LRs you must have, free-to-play LRs you should consider getting, free-to-play LRs that are optional, basically neutral, free-to-play units that aren't really required, and then free-to-play units that you should only really get if you want to get other units. So let's talk about them. Obviously I'm on global, so I can't do any JP exclusives, and I'm going to be basing this based on their current variants on global. So if they have an EZA, I'll be basing it on that. Otherwise, I'll be basing it entirely on their standard version. Not to mention as well that I think I will mention and base the units on their difficulty to obtain, as I think it's super important to kind of factor that in. Now, I'm going to just kind of pop the only if required for other units kind of units just in and out the way. So a lot of them are going to be prime battle ones, because prime battle units tend to require other units. So, for example, to get prime battle Frieza, who I think is really quite good, you need to have Goku. So that's why he's in the only if you need for other units category instead of the not required. Because although I can't say that I want to have Goku, I do think you should probably get him because you need him for Frieza. Very similarly is the case for the Vegeta, who you'll probably need for other units as well. So that's kind of the units I want to get out of the way, and then I also want to kind of just push the not required units. So Bardock, you kind of need to have the free team Bardock, so I think that's important. Frieza and Cooler are cool, but they're not worth the battlefield currency, and so I think they should go to the not required section, as I do think they're not mandatory for other EZAs. Similarly, I'm not going to be including World Tournament LRs. The reason I'm not including World Tournament LRs is because although they are technically free to play, there is still an element of gacha to them, in that if you miss the World Tournament, you basically do have to essentially summon for them, and that level of gacha I think warrants them not being included in a free to play list. If I said to you go out and get int Piccolo, you can't get him because you have to summon for him. So those units I definitely think do deserve to be kind of kept out, and that's what I'm going to do, but it's going to depend on yourself. So the units that I think you must have are going to be the Ginyu Force units, B-Pan. So the Ginyu Force units are kind of self-explanatory, a very, very, very good, strong set of units that I think at the end of the day are very reliable. They help a great free-to-play team, and they are pretty solid for just generic extreme teams. B-Pan heals and stuns, and it's just overall an incredibly powerful and useful unit, so I definitely suggest you get her. Next, we're going to talk about Strength Super Vegito. Fantastic unit that honestly most players should get. Not only an awesome lead, being 130%, but also just a very solid unit. Stacks and can do some good damage and have good defense. Next, you should probably get, well, let's continue along the must-have kind of side of things. So I want to say Babidi. I find this Babidi to be great. He's good for Ultimate Clash. He's got sealing, stunning, and just overall is a bit of a menace to the opposition. So I think that's something that's very good, that I do value in him quite a lot. So I'm very happy about that. This Piccolo can go there. Then probably I would say the only real must-haves is probably Great Saiyaman 1 and 2. Very similar in that they seal, they do a lot of really good work. And then I would probably say Master Roshi is also a must-have. I think he's incredibly good for similar reasons. This Goku I don't really want to include because obviously he's kind of mandatory. You should get him from the tutorial. If you're someone who for whatever reason does not have him from the tutorial, then I think you're being a bit silly. First form cell is awesome. He's got a great EZA. He builds up quickly. He's super helpful for the Android Cell Saga team right now. And he's a great healing option, so I really value him quite a bit. I find him to be super useful and I've enjoyed using him. Then in terms of the should gets, I would probably say you're looking at these guys. We'll talk about them now. Obviously, you know, in their own capacity, but you can definitely probably put, I think Krillin's a must-have. Krillin's area is super good and he's crucial for world tournaments, so I actually do definitely think that Krillin is probably a must-have unit for new players or just any player really to have in DBZ Dokkan Battle right now. I think he's really good and he's a unit that I think, you know, most players should consider definitely getting. Then yeah, in terms of the should you get, these are probably where I'm sitting. I think most of these units are quite good and solid. I think, just checking now, yeah, I think this is probably where I'd lie with them. Okay, we can put that there. So 17, 18, great support, really good. The only thing that holds them back from being a must-have is they're actually quite difficult to get. They're very time-consuming for new players, and friend summon units are always a bit of an issue. Next we have First Form Frieza, who's really good, requires Goku, but overall it's just a really nice starting extreme unit. Metal Cooler is also very similar in that Metal Cooler is great, but he costs a lot of battlefield currency, which is quite limiting. Then we have AGL Trunks, who's also quite solid. His link set's very inconsistent though, and he relies on the finishing blow mechanic. Then we have Oob, who's very good, just a bit limited in categories, and the same with the Shadow Dragons Legion, who are a lot of fun, but also struggle categories wise. We then have a great leader skill in the form of the Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., and Goku and Arale are really useful for Ultimate Clash with their ceiling. I would maybe say Deborah and Bubbly you should get very similarly for Ultimate Clash because of their ceiling capabilities and their overall utility. I think LR's Masu is probably not required. I would also say that the Tech Hercule is not someone I would require you getting, and I think his resource link is not worth it. This Tao is a World Tournament unit. I think right now, in terms of the rest, they are all probably in the optional category. Like this Goku can stay off because he's just a time-based reward. But I think a lot of them are the ESBR, SBR units. And the reason for that is that they're just quite difficult to get. And by the time you get them, they're actually usually aged out, even in terms of EZA. So although they're pretty solid, I wouldn't say any of these units under optional are worth either the currency trade or the effort to get them. Obviously, if you get them along the way, I think it's great, but I don't think they're mandatory. So yeah, I think that kind of covers it. That covers everything we need to know about free-to-play units. If you're wondering which ones you should focus on or how to get them, you can probably just Google them or look them up on my channel. But if you're still struggling, you can just let me know, and I'll gladly reply in your comments. That's it from me. See you guys next time. Bye.